This has been one hell of a diverse weekend for movies. Hey everyone, it's me, Aaron.
I'm Michelle.
After reviewing Ant-Man and Sorry to Bother You, why not end it on the first Purge?
Yeah.
Whew!
Wow.
First thing I'll say right off the bat is that if you guys did not check it out, we started a brand new show here called the Post Geekout Retrospective, where we go back and we look at older movies that have to do with a new movie coming out, and our inaugural episode was all three Purge films. We reviewed all three Purge films at once, and basically what we said is, none of these are really good, but they do get better with each one.
Yeah, and this one is just...
I gotta admit, I think it's the best. Like, this is the first one which I would actually say, I think this one's good.
Yes.
I actually really like this one.
The thing is, it feels too real. Like,
Man. That's the thing. The previous films were trying to make social commentary, but the writing was never very good, so none of the characters felt that real.
Yeah.
And the director didn't do the best job, and all the sets kind of looked plastic to me. Like, everything felt plastic in the previous couple films. Everything in the previous couple films felt like, yeah, this isn't real. I mean, you're trying to make social commentary, but just it doesn't quite hit as hard as you want to, because nothing in here feels real. This one, it's the same writer as the previous couple ones, but it's a brand new director.
Yeah.
And holy crap, what a difference a director makes.
Yes.
In fact, I wouldn't even be shocked if we found out that the original script of this was changed dramatically by this director, because there's still one character in this film who I point at and I'm like, that's the writer. That's the same writer who wrote the sweet blue cheese guy from the last film. There's that one, Dolores was her name. The next door neighbor was like,
yeah.
I still point at her and I'm like, yeah, you're like here for comedic relief at moments that really should not have comedic relief, and it's really bad comedic relief. Although our audience was enjoying it.
Yeah. Like you said, comedic relief is important enough.
You do need comedic relief in a horror film.
Horror suspense movie.
Because it does help releases the beast. It helps when your tension gets so high, you do need some kind of a release valve, so that way you don't just start cracking under the pressure and start laughing at things that shouldn't be laughed at. You need someone to kind of ease you back down so they can rise you back up. She did do that. She just wasn't very good. But she was the one character in here who I looked at, I'm like, that's the writer from the previous films. Everyone else in here felt so much more real, and every single location they went to, I was like, that's an actual place.
Yeah.
They're actually filming outside, they're filming in an abandoned building. They might have done that in the previous films, but they all felt like just sets. They all felt like, even when they were running around on the street in the last couple films, which of course that was real, it felt like if you move the camera slightly over to the side, you'd see a big ass closed street doing a movie shoot, a bunch of looky-loos just sitting over there. It's is that a movie going on over there? Yeah, or all of a sudden a green screen would just fall and it's oh no, we're not in the Purge, it's now the Truman Show or something. Everybody, this one. It was holy crap, they're in actual locations. And the Purge film was the first one tried to be a horror film, and oddly enough, to me, that's the worst of them.
Yeah.
The next couple, it was yeah, it's not really a horror film, it's a thriller. Fuck that, it's an action film. It's a straight up action film. This one, yeah, towards the end, it's a straight up action film. But the first half of it is actually a horror film, and they're going for that. And yeah, there's moments in here where, again, you can tell it's the original writer. Because one thing that I also hate the original writer doing is how everyone on Purge Night just becomes Jigsaw.
Yeah.
I always hated that.
Yeah.
And there are, two scenes in here during that first half where it's a horror film in which it's cut the shit on this one, where, someone has to run through, a booby-trap maze of exploding teddy bears. You saw that one in the trailer. That's not a big spoiler. And it's the fuck is this movie? This is not what I was watching. But aside from that, it's going for horror, and it actually works, in my opinion.
Yeah.
This is the first time in any of these films when the beginning of the first annual experiment is now underway. When that came on, I was like, oh fuck. It was the first time in any of these films in which I actually got that feeling of, oh, the next 12 hours are gonna suck. Oh, nervous. And it's the first time in any of these films when we actually followed someone as they went outside on Purge Night. And I was actually like, oh no, dude, don't go out there. Don't go out there. Because he's got this look of, I just entered into something crazy.
Oh yeah, you can definitely
This is
see
not, basically this, like the last couple Purge films, it follows 3 different groups of people.
Yeah, like Isaiah, I think that's the guy you were talking about, like who wanted to like go out on Purge night.
There's this girl who she's trying to like get people together.
Yeah, she's protesting against
against the Purge because this was the first annual Purge. And one thing that I liked about this is that because this was the first Purge, one problem I have with it is that this film begins with them saying, hey, it's the day before the first experiment. They're not calling it the Purge yet, they're just calling it the experiment. It's the day before the first experiment. And I was like, so you're not gonna see like how this passed through Congress? How this passed like through like any legal system at all? They do some explaining. They do some backwards explaining on it.
Yeah.
Like they say, hey, the people of Staten Island voted on this and they voted yes. And they're like, yeah, but it's because you told everyone they could get $5,000 if they stayed on the island during it. And we're all broke. We all need money. And that was an interesting thing that it was like, yeah, people are agreeing to this because they need the money, which was something that we kind of point out in one of the previous Purge films in which they came in here and they said, oh, well, you know, it's only the poor people who get killed on Purge night. And I'm just like, unless, you know, how does that work with the
economy?
The economy, yeah. How does that work with the unemployment rate? That's what's right. Because all these films brag about how, oh, the unemployment rate is almost non-existent now, all because of the Purge. And I'm just like, well, if poor people are dying, how does that work? Because you know who works most of the jobs out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this film, it kind of comes in and goes, oh, they all agreed to it because they need $5,000. And I was like, yeah, man, that kind of is the message that we were saying needed to be in the past couple of films. So they do kind of lead into that a little bit. But, so they give you that bit of explanation on it. So I kind of enjoyed that. But one thing that I did enjoy about is that they said it's just Staten Island. Because, yeah, no way could you just start nationwide. And I didn't even think about that. So that was actually a smart thing that this film did, which they was like, yeah, it's just Staten Island. It's like, oh yeah, it's an island. There's like one bridge to get in there and one ferry to get in there. That's it. It'd be the easiest place in all of America to actually do this experiment. It actually was kind of smart. I gotta give them that one.
Yeah, it's like, I also noticed that like, they were targeting like the poor people. Like,
yeah. Well, yeah, that's the other part.
No, I mean, but it's like they were expecting the poor people to like get in on the Purge.
Oh, yeah, okay, so that's the other thing. Let's get into like the actual people who are doing this though. There's the girl who is protesting it, and she's got a younger brother.
Yeah.
And the younger brother, he wants to go out on Purge night because this like nut job in their town, who everyone just calls Skeletor.
Yeah.
He's got like scars.
Yeah, he's basically like a crack addict, so
he's something else.
He's like something. Like he's definitely been on drugs.
He's
like,
doped up on weird future Purge drugs. Yeah, this film starts off with him being interviewed because they have to interview everybody who they think might purge, and then they're like, hey, if you do purge, we'll give you $5,000, and we'll give you some extra money for the more that you interact with. Like, they're bribing people to go out there and be violent. So it starts with him going, I got these things in my head, I just gotta get them out, I gotta purge it. And it was like, purge? Interesting. Maybe you will have the opportunity soon. And yeah, I had no idea what was up with that, but he becomes like one of the big villains for this film. And he basically kind of went in there and attacked her younger brother. So the younger brother now wants to go out there and purge.
Yeah.
But the other big person who we're following is the gang leader of
Dimitri.
Dimitri, yeah. And he's kind of one of those like gang leader with a heart of gold characters.
Yeah.
Like we run this town, we run all the drugs, we do all this. But we don't mess with these people. We pay respect to these people. It is kind of like an old school mafia kind of character. Because like one of the reasons why people always love mob movies is that the mob always has a code that they don't go against.
Right.
He's kind of one of those characters. So those are the main like 3 people who are following up Purge night. And yeah, when the younger brother goes out there for the first time to purge, he just walks out and like it is dead silent out there in this neighborhood that used to be lively, and the cinematography, like the color palette in this film is great. Yeah, and because like you can tell they got a different cinematographer on here.
Yeah, it's like basically everyone who volunteered to like be a part of the Purge, they were given like special contacts so they can. So basically, like you can see what they're doing.
The new founding fathers can see everything.
Yeah, and the contacts, they glow. So throughout this entire thing, you just see these silhouettes with like these glowing irises, and it's really creepy.
It is so, like, when he originally puts the contacts on so that they can see everything he's doing, and you see him with these bright blue eyes, I was like, it's kind of weird. That's kind of an odd thing to do. And then when he goes out there, he's got the blue glowing eyes. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be okay. Like, looking, that just looks so odd to me. I don't know if I'm gonna be okay with that. But then, like, right after that, there's a moment when she's walking down an alleyway, and literally my first thought was, yeah, man, remember the last couple films where they would go down an alleyway and they'd be swinging, like, guillotine? Like, how the fuck did someone set that up during the Purge? Like, that's just nuts to me. Granted, a couple seconds later, we got exploding teddy bears in an alleyway, too, so this film still does some dumb stuff in it. But he's going down this empty alleyway, and you see him walk past a giant window, and there's just a black silhouette. Just, you can't make out anything about the person except there's just a silhouette of someone standing there, and the two glowing eyes looking at him. I was like, fuck, that's the most chilling thing we have gotten in any of these movies. And then he turns around and he sees like two people on the other side and staring at him with the blue glowing eyes, and they just slowly wave to him. And it's like, man, even if they're inside, like, yeah, you see that, and you know, these people signed up to go out there and wreck stuff. But another thing that I like about this film is, like, one of the first things that we see people doing on Purge Night is a guy goes up and tries to break open an ATM machine.
Yeah.
What's another thing that we said about the previous couple films? Why does everybody just want to murder in these movies? Like, wouldn't someone try and, like, just steal?
Yeah, and, like, that's actually, like, a big plot point in this movie. It's like, they're like surveying everything. It's like people are just looting and having parties, and just
that was another thing that I really like, is that there was like this sense of community on Staten Island. Is that you got that sense of the people who's like, we're not gonna do any of this crazy stuff. We're just staying here and we're just gonna have a party. It's like, man, I have been in so many crappy situations where it was like, yeah, but the community came together and we all just had a party. Like, I remember when that hurricane hit New York a couple of years back. I know there were so many people who was like, you know what, you ain't got any place to go, we're all just gonna have a big hurricane party. We're all just gonna huddle down here, just chill. I was like, yeah, man, it does create this sense of reality in there. And I love that there's also kind of a fourth group that we're following, which is a representative from the New Founding Fathers and Marissa Tomei, who was the psychiatrist who came up with this whole idea for the experiment. And they're watching this, and then they go, yeah, there hasn't actually been, like, hardly any crimes. There's been, like, one from that Skeletor guy.
Yeah, like, one murder. I mean, there's been, like, tiny crimes, you know.
Like robbing people.
Yeah, but, like, nothing serious.
But then they go, well, what is happening? There's parties. Lots of parties. And I was like, this is, like, such a great The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, like, leaning down to Whoville moment.
Except afterwards, the Grinch bombed Whoville.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, we're not going deep into spoilers, but this is kind of in the trailer on this one.
Yeah.
We will get into spoilers after we give our score and everything, but you're still good for now. But this was in the trailer. As we mentioned, the previous couple films, the first film, there's like no real social commentary other than the fact that it was rich white people trying to kill like a poor guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, they didn't even lean into that so much. But as society has kind of become more fucked up over the past couple of years, the Purge films looked at that and just went, are we kind of falling ass backwards into being really smart? We'll take it. So every single film got a little bit more like political, and they made more social commentary. And this film, they just didn't even care. Because in this film, they were like, no. If you still didn't get it after the last film, we're gonna tell you straight to your fucking face with a bullhorn if we have to. Hey, Peach.
Yeah.
Peach saw me patting my leg and she was like, do you want me to jump up? Yay! Oh, no. Oh, you won't play. We're not playing.
Sorry, Peach. You gotta wait till we're done.
Anyway.
Peach needs to purge.
Yeah.
Isn't that right, you little rascal?
There we go. Good girl. Okay, but yeah, this film, it just gets to a point where they're like, yeah, just fuck all of this. Like, it gets to the point where they're just like, no, we're doing this because we're trying to kill off poor people. Like, they just flat out say it. And there comes a moment in which they're trying to escape. Like, the sister has hooked back up with the brother in there, which it's after a great, like, escape sequence in which he's trying to run away from, Skeletor, and he runs into, like, this abandoned building, and he just sees, like, people just sitting in there, and they all got the glowing blue eyes. I was like, yeah, man, again, when this film wanted to be a horror film, it was a damn good horror film. But they're running back to the church where they had all gone to hang out.
You know,
and
like their safe spot, basically.
Yeah, the safe zone. And they see all these, like, just, like, racists, like, driving around on motorcycles. And, like, where the fuck did these guys come from? And they start
but the thing is, like, they didn't realize they were racist because they were wearing masks.
No, they had giant white.
Oh, I thought you meant, like, at first. Like, eventually.
No, okay, yeah, we'll get into that in a second. No, I'm talking about the guys on motorcycles.
Oh, okay.
The guys on motorcycles, it was obvious.
Yeah.
They had flags for it.
Yes.
But yeah, they're like, where do these guys come from? The people who are conducting this, the psychiatrist, she goes, yeah, where did they come from? So she goes, gets like someone to start investigating it for her, starts tracking it back, and she's like, yeah, there's all these people who from like this one warehouse or multiple warehouses on the city just kind of like sprung out into action all of a sudden. Like all these like militia looking guys, where did they come from? And it's basically revealed as the purge was going on, they were looking at it like, we expected way more people to be purging. They're not purging. You told us they would purge. The new founding fathers are going to be mad about this. We needed this purge to work. How is the purge not working? Which that's another thing that I love about this, is that we have been pointing out from day one, the purge would not actually work. Mm-hmm. Like all this crap about believing the purge works. No, it wouldn't. That doesn't make any sense. This film came in here and it kind of makes the other films better.
Yes, it explains
because it came in here and went, yeah, no it doesn't. It's all been a lie. And they come in here and just say, yeah, listen, we needed this to work and it wasn't working, so this was our backup plan. Mm-hmm. We need people to die. The people who are behind the purge, they flat out come in here and say, the entire reason we agreed to this is because we needed poor people to die. Mm-hmm. And also there is a lot of like turn to the camera and it's like, and when we say poor people, we're also saying we're really racist. Like they're not hiding that either. Especially in like a couple minutes after this scene.
Yeah, it's like what I really liked about it was like they expected all the poor people to like turn on each other because they assume that they're going to be like violent.
Yeah, and I mean it's a great commentary on like how out of touch like rich politicians can be, in which they're like, oh yes, all these people will do is just turn and murder each other. Like that's something that we've heard actual politicians saying in the past couple of years. Like,
it turns out they just want to have fun. They just want to like they're just trying to survive. That's all.
Like that's one of the other things that this movie does so well. It creates this great feeling of community. Mm-hmm. It creates this great feeling of all these people know each other. All these people care about each other. Yeah. It does that so incredibly well. And yeah, we mentioned it just a second ago, but the Whoville scene in which they're just like, what do you mean they're not murdering each other? We did this crazy ass experiment because we needed them all to murder each other, and they're not doing it anymore. Problems with all this? Yeah, so, sorry, our dog came running up with one of her squeak toys. I didn't mean to laugh at that moment, it's just she was so cute running up here.
Yeah. Oh, Peach.
So anyway, yeah, so that's a great moment in there. And yeah, there are moments where this thing stops trying to be like subtle with a social commentary. But there are those small moments there where they don't exactly have to turn to the camera there. Like when they're talking about how politicians are out of touch with regular people because they would just expect them all to start murdering each other. But talking back to, but sticking with that scene, was sticking with the moment in which like Marissa Tomei finds out, oh, you actually like, you were using me in this plan of mine. It's not for some big social experiment. It's not because you actually expected things to get better. You're just using it to kill off poor people. And she even has that moment where she goes, what have I done? Mm-hmm. And man, okay, I'm making it sound like I'm really digging this film because there are parts of it that I really am digging. But there's still some dumb moments in here.
Yeah.
And after she finds this out, she does have that, what have I done? Oh, what has happened here? I'm like, you literally came up with an experiment where all crime would be legal, including murder, so that people could kill each other because you think that that would reduce crime. And you didn't expect this to go. What did you expect to have happen? Because even then, it's not like the new founding father guy was like, no, you said there'd be more crime. You said, why is there not enough crime going on here? She herself was like, that's weird. All the statistics show that there would be far more crime. Like, all of my calculations said that there would be far more. Like, even she was banking on there being more crime.
Even she is out of touch. Like
she's fucking psychotic. And this movie had the gall to have her come in here at the end and go, no, what have I done? It's like, man, I love Marissa Tomei, but even I can't get behind this character. Like, fuck her. It's so, like, again, it'd be one thing if the character was supposed to be out of touch, if someone else was there to turn to her and go, what were you expecting was going to happen? Like, I'm sorry, what was the good scenario in this? Peach. Come over here, buddy. Come over here. Get on up. Come on, buddy. Yeah. Get on up.
She was chewing her antler.
Yes.
So you can chew that on my lap.
You can't be cute while we're talking about the Purge. But yeah, like if someone had turned to her, like even if the new founding father guy had turned to her and gone, I'm sorry you're opposed to this now. It was what did you expect to happen? Like, what was the good version of the Purge in your mind? What was the good version where everyone started murdering each other? Like, how did that play out in your head that this is the bad scenario for you? Okay, like, yeah, it was just so, you gotta be fucking kidding me kind of scenes. But after that point, it stops being a horror film and it just becomes a thriller, and then it turns into a straight up action film at the end. It's weird, like, this film in one film went through the 3 different stages that all the other Purge films went through, because the first one was a horror film, second one was a thriller, third one was an action film. Although actually I guess the second and third were both combinations of thriller and action. This one goes through all 3 of them, like, in that progression. But the thing is, I'm okay with it, because the first half of this film is a darn good horror film. Then it becomes a darn good thriller. Then at the end, when they actually start fighting back, it's a kick-ass action sequence. Again, what a difference a director makes.
Yeah.
This director knew how to shoot everything that this movie needed to be. And also, the characters in here. Again, like the, what's her face? The next door neighbor?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was kind of annoying. She was kind of the annoying, jokey character that these films always have, which,
It's like, I didn't find her that annoying. Like,
again, compared to the other characters, no. But that's the other thing. No one in this film is as bad as any of the characters are in the previous couple films. And a good example of that is, man, remember the I want my candy bar character from the last film? She was so awful. But Skeletor in this film? Holy shit, that dude was actually scary. Like, and I keep thinking, one thing that I have been kind of pointing out about the Purge films, I don't even remember if I remember to bring it up, I think I did when we talked about all 3 of them, is that the Purge films don't have good villains. It's kind of just the scenario itself is a villain, but you need someone that you can put a face on. And in the first film, you've got the serial killer guy in the mask, and that dude sucked. I know some people find him funny because of how bad he sucks, but no, to me, he just sucks. To me, he is just so overblown and just so cartoonish that I'm like, I cannot take you serious at all. Second film, it was some dude in a hat with a Gatling gun. Like, there's nothing to that guy. And then in the third film, it was the racist guy who would, like, he was the skinhead guy and, like, Nazi swastika on his shirt and, like, Confederate flags. And I was like, okay, well, you're kind of threatening in, like, a Terminator way because you just keep coming, but, I mean, I still get nothing from you. I actually thought Skeletor was actually kind of a good villain in this. Because, yeah, he is kind of freaky. He's got scars all over his face and, like, the tattoos, and he's got those glowing eyes going for him. I mean, the movie opens up with him just losing his shit. But also, they knew how to shoot him. They knew how to shoot this guy so that he actually felt like a threat. Like, when he's, like, moving through a crowd at that party, you actually were like, oh, shit, what's he gonna do? Whereas with all the other villains, it was like, yeah, I know what you're gonna do. There's no, like, tension to you at all. You're just this thing that we have to get past. With him, it was like, shit, when is he going to pop up next? And what's he going to do next? He was a great X factor to throw into this. And he actually had personality. The dude in a hat had no personality. Skinhead guy had no personality. Candy Bar Girl had personality, but God, she was awful. Skeletor had a personality to him.
And he was not awful.
Yeah, he's the first actual, like, legit good villain that these movies have had. But towards the end of this film, when the militia guys are coming around, and it's just militias, racist, like Blackwater soldiers, like they're not actually Blackwater soldiers, they made up some new thing, but they even stop and say, like Blackwater, so that people will know, oh, like that thing. When they're just going through the neighborhood, just taking people out. Again, like this movie, it stops with any subtlety. That's the moment in which they're like, do you motherfuckers still not get this? Do you still not get what we're trying to say with these? Because then you have like Klansmen running out there. You've got the big like villain at the end of this is a straight up Nazi. Like, he is in like a leather uniform. There's another moment in which you see a black guy crawling away from these guys, trying to get away, and it's all guys dressed as cops. And it's like, yeah, man, this movie is like, no, we're gonna turn to everybody in society and just be like, you know what we're saying here with this, right? And it's like, fuck, man, this thing got heavy towards the end of it. Like, I talked about how in the last film, they just dropped the subtlety. This film, they're like, some of you motherfuckers still didn't get it after the last. How did you still not get this? And yeah, man, I want to point at this and kind of be like, okay, you've gone overboard with this. But again, with how crazy things have been over the past year and a half, or 2 years, or 3, or fuck, however far back you want to go, it's like, yeah, man, maybe we kind of need a film like this. Maybe we kind of need a film in which they're not afraid to come in here and go like, yeah, motherfuckers, there's some real psychopaths out there.
Yeah, it's not the poor that are gonna kill themselves off. It's gonna be the racist assholes that are gonna kill everybody else off. Man. Like, seriously.
Yeah, man, I'm not afraid of Staten Island.
No.
I'm afraid of those Charlottesville motherfuckers with the tiki torches, though. Yeah, and again, for anybody who's like mad at me for getting political, it's what the fucking movie is about, man.
Yes.
You can't not talk about this stuff. But as I said, this film starts off as a horror film, then goes into a thriller, then at the end of it, it's just a straight up action film. It is a kick-ass action film at the end of this. At the end of this thing, like, all the militia dudes are heading towards the building where all of our other characters are, and Dimitri, he now has to get his boys together and go and save this building. And they've got all these high-tech weapons, and like, yeah, some guy sold them to us for really cheap. I don't know why. I'd never even heard of this guy. And they realized the government guys sold us these weapons because they expected us to use them against other people in our community. And now, because we're not doing that, they've turned against us. So we have to now use these weapons to go and stop them. So he's got these, like, insanely powerful weapons just going in there Rambo style. Mm-hmm. Just taking these guys out. And I looked at this and I was just like, man, the Marvel Netflix shows are nice, but everybody kept applauding the action in the Marvel Netflix shows. And I always kind of had problems with them because you could tell it was way too over-coordinated. Like, it was way too fake. Like, it's like you can tell in those fight scenes, like, oh yeah, people are just whiffing, like not even getting close to each other. They're dancing rather than actually fighting. God, he goes in there. And the reason why I'm bringing up the Marvel Netflix shows are because they're famous for their hallway fight scenes. He's fighting in hallways and he's fighting in stairwells in these tiny closed off areas. He is fighting. Like, this is the stuff that I have wanted from those Marvel Netflix shows. He is legit kicking the crap out of these guys. And they're fighting back. Mm-hmm. It's not one of those things where it's like, okay, stunt guy, let the actor punch you up, but don't fight back because we can't rough off his pretty face. No, man, he's getting into the shit. Like, they are giving as good as they're getting, and he just keeps going through them. I looked at this guy like he had better turn up as like the next big action star. The guy who played Dimitri in here, he had better be like the breakout star in this film.
What's his name?
Yeah, let's look that up. Let's give this guy some respect.
Yes. You want to give the director some respect too? Or?
Yeah, let's do that too. He's only done one other film before this, and man, okay, so the director of this film was Gerard McCurry, and the guy who played Dimitri is Yolande Noel. They don't even have a picture for him on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, that's how few stuff he's been in. But yeah, man, that dude had better break out. Because he's even got, like, that Hollywood superstar look to him. Like, there's a moment when he takes off his shirt and he's just wearing the tank top. I was like, dude, if this was an 80s film, you would have everything you need to be a star for the next decade. Like, Die Hard, Rambo, like, that's all you need. Tank top, just run in there. You got this. No, not Rambo. Rambo was shirtless. Commando. Commando was in a tank top. But yeah, man, it's like, this is kind of like that feeling that I haven't gotten in a while from an action film. Just, man, a really buff dude just going in there beating the shit out of guys. And yeah, that's what you got. Beating the shit out of guys that deserve to be beaten the shit out of. Oh, man. That's another thing. This movie made you applaud.
And our audience applauded.
Our audience was applauding every time he put down one of these motherfuckers. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing. This movie did a great job of making you want to see him win. Mm-hmm. And I was so worried. I was so worried that something might happen to him. And I'm not going to say whether or not something does happen to him. But I'll just say, the fact that this movie got me to be that worried all throughout, that's how you do tension in a film. This film did that great. So we're going to get into the spoiler stuff in just a second, but just to sum up, yes, it does tons of stupid shit. There are tons of moments in here in which you go, yep, that's the same writer from the previous film. But the director knows how to capture all this shit. The characters are so much better. You get a sense of reality from this. It doesn't feel like you're watching stuff on plastic sets. You get a sense of the community in here. It really does like capture the horror and thriller and action vibe that all these films have kind of had. This film, it's definitely the best of all of them. I still have to beat it down some because there are so many dumb moments in here. Like, every now and again, it does just have to stop and go, yeah, you guys, you know this is a Purge film, right? It's like, yes, I know. It's stupid. But man, for what it did well, I'm giving it a 7.5. Like, I almost got up to 8 on this one, but I'll go 7.5. What about you?
Shoot, maybe like a 9 or an 8. Like,
whoa! Really?
Well, I
don't like flinch like I'm going to like come and wag a finger at you.
It's
but
like, how dare you? It's like, I just really did enjoy it, and like also it was like because it got really emotional through it. Like,
wow.
like you know, like there were like 2 of the characters were like a mom and a daughter, and like there was like,
weren't they good?
Yeah, and it's like there was like one scene where like the mom was just crying. She's like, I'm scared for her future. I'm scared for the future of this country. It's like, oh my...
Again, this movie turns to you as like, yeah, America. Like, this movie does not like... This is kind of like the action thriller film we kind of need at this time.
Yeah. Whether we like it or not.
Yeah. As I have pointed out, how weird is it that the Purge films fell this far ass backwards into being political? Not because they just happen to get really smart, but just because, like... the world caught up to them.
Yeah.
But wow, I was not expecting an 8 or 9. Like, so 8.5, you say?
Yeah, I guess so.
Fuck, man, I'm going up to 8. I wanted to fight it because the dumb moments are so dumb in this movie.
Yeah, but it's like, there are fewer dumb moments in this movie than there has
fewer.
been in the
Like, I can
ones.
count on one hand the dumb things in this film that I didn't enjoy. Fuck, man. I can't believe I'm doing it, but yeah, an 8. I'm giving it an 8. All right.
It's funny, because like usually when you review movies, you bump down the grade.
I do tend to do that, don't I? I've noticed that. Actually, I've noticed that typically whatever I felt about a movie gets truly brought out during the reviews.
Peach, calm down.
Okay, buddy.
And she hears people out in the hallway.
Yeah.
That's why she's barking.
Yeah, I've noticed that whatever I feel about these movies always like gets bumped up when we do these reviews. Like if I hate a movie, but I walked out there like, whatever. As soon as I start talking about it, I'm like, no, motherfucker. But if I liked a movie, and I'm like, yeah, it was okay. If I really liked it, that comes out during these, and it's like, yeah, goddamn, this thing did so many things right. But let's go into the like actual like spoilers at the end of this thing. Spoilers at the end of this, when he's going in there and he's doing the big fight scene at the end, I love that the head guy of this militia, he's dressed up just like the Black Skull. Like, he's a Nazi, except he's just got a black mask on instead of like a red skull mask on. And there comes a moment in which he rips the mask off, and it's nobody we've seen before in the movie.
No.
But they like focus on it like it's a big moment of him taking the mask off. I was like, why is that a big moment? And then he takes his like Nazi jacket off, and it's just a button-up collared shirt with a tie on, and I was like, I know why this was a big reveal. He's the living embodiment of the man. Mm-hmm. He's the living embodiment of that like power structure guy who's just keeping everyone else down. And when you look at the face of the guy who they got, it's the perfect guy they got for that, because he's got the biggest square jaw, huge dimpled cheeks,
like the perfect white rich politician guy.
Perfect swoop back hairdo. Like, he's been wearing a mask, and yet his hair is in that perfect like pompadour look. Yeah, man, like they just nailed the guy they needed to get for that. And at the end of this thing, man, you want to talk about how this audience got so against those militia guys? At the end of this thing, this is the last big spoiler thing, Skeletor comes in out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because it had been like 45 minutes since we last saw him, and I actually started thinking to myself, did he die?
Did he die?
I left to go to the bathroom for like 2 minutes. Like, I ran and came back.
And Skeletor did not pop up again at all. So
yeah.
You didn't miss anything.
And he didn't pop up any since I got back, so I just kept wondering the whole time. I was like, did he fucking die? And did they kill him off in like 2 minutes? That's nuts. He just pops up at the end, like staying behind these guys, which again, he is a horror movie monster because he just appears. He just Slender Mans his way into any place. He just appears behind them and starts slashing into them. And this is a guy who had been a straight up horror monster this entire time. The movie in the last half of this was able to make you hate these other guys so much more. The audience was cheering him coming in here.
Like, I always felt like Skeletor was like chaotic neutral. Like, he didn't really have a side. He just wanted to like kill everybody.
He was chaotic neutral. You're right. You're absolutely right. Whereas those other guys were lawful evil. Man, everything breaks down in D&D terms. Yeah, man. So he comes in here, and yeah, even I, the guy who was like, "Oh fuck, Skeletor is legit scared," was like, "Get him, Skeletor! Go, man!" But then this thing ends with like a big fireball explosion, which it's a Blumhouse film, so the special effects were kind of cheap. I do have to give it some points off for that. And it was kind of cartoony. That thing ends with no jumping away, and I was just like, they're gonna like kill these guys off, or something. Like the explosion's gonna kill off Demetrius, gonna kill off somebody in here. Everybody in this movie lives.
Yeah.
Everybody except for Skeletor lives in this film.
Well, I don't think anyone would be happy if Skeletor lived, to be honest.
Yeah,
He'd just keep killing.
Absolutely. But all the good people in this film died. And I was impressed with that. Because, again, this movie is trying to be super political. I love it ends on, like, a note of hope.
Yeah, exactly.
It ends on this note of, nah, motherfuckers, we're still fighting. And like,
yeah, like, literally.
Yes!
Yeah, like, at the end, when the purge is over, they're like, what do we do now? It's like, we survive. And it's like, damn right you survive.
Yeah,
like,
man. Fuck, man. Again, it kind of is the movie. Fuck, yeah, it's an 8 out of 10. I'm sticking with that score. God damn it, I cannot believe I bumped it up that high. It's an 8 out of 10. Because, man, I was watching this film and I was like, 5, 6, 7? Am I going to go higher than it? I'll go 7.5. There's no way am I going 8. It's a fucking 8 out of 10. Because, God, yeah, it ends so well.
Yeah.
But also, like, man, if you watch the post-Geekout retrospective we did, in which we were talking about the other Purge films, in which I was talking about how it's like, yeah, man, I would love it if the first Purge came in here and actually said the Purge does not work. And at the end of it, it was basically all just lies, and they were changing all the statistics around to make it seem like it actually worked. The fact that this movie actually did the exact thing that in our retrospective, I came in here and said, I want them to do this in the film. They actually did it. Yeah, I'm impressed with that. So yeah, I love that all those characters survived. I love that the 3 wise men survived. We didn't even mention them. Those guys were great.
Yeah.
I wanted them way more in this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, at the end, when Dimitri comes in there, and like you got the 3 wise men, and like there's a bunch of Klansmen outside like shooting at them, and you're just like, no, I like those guys so much. And then Dimitri shows up, takes all of them out, and then he comes up and goes, someone get these wise men some weapons. And I was like, I wanted to stand up and just start pumping my fist in the air. God, I was so hyped and so happy. Yeah, man, okay. I can't believe I enjoyed this film so much. God damn, this was so much better than it should have been. Again, it's exactly what we were saying in our retrospective, is that, okay, the guy making these movies, he's got some ideas. He's got some ideas. Hand those ideas off to someone better than you. Hand those ideas off to someone who knows what they're doing. And yes, he still wrote this, but this just goes to show what a difference a director can make. God, I am really excited to see what this director does next.
Yeah. Speaking of what comes next,
that was the weirdest, like, we didn't stay until the total post-credits, so we don't know if there's another big surprise after that. But halfway through the credits, they just stop and go, coming to USA. And it's just a trailer for the Purge TV show.
Yeah.
Dude, put that on, like, if you are going to do that, put that on as the post-credit scene. Because then it feels like, okay, movie's over. Putting it halfway through the credits is like, did you just stop your credits to show us a commercial?
That felt weird.
That was weird.
But, like, I don't know, maybe it felt like, oh, they don't have the patience to sit through all the credits.
That's the other thing. Yeah, I know if you put it after the credits, a lot of the people in the audience would leave.
Yeah, I mean, like, we almost left out.
We almost did, because we were like, yeah, it's not going to be a post-credits thing.
It's not like a Marvel movie or anything. Or
what would they even do in this one? It's a prequel. You can't really do a post-credits
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of this, the guy from the first film goes, I might get into selling home security. Which that's another thing I got to point out about this film. Again, it feels so real because in like all the other films, everybody's got such high science fiction security systems. And this one, when you just see guys standing out in front of their stores with loaded shotguns, because that's all the security they got, it's like, that feels real. Yep. God, was there any other spoilery stuff? Like, we talked about what happened to Skeletor. We talked about how they all survived at the end.
I think that's pretty much the gist of it, yeah.
How they took out Marissa Tomei.
Oh, yeah.
That was actually, man, again, like, I'd be more hurt by that if it weren't for the fact that I was like, what the fuck were you thinking by even starting this? Like, but yeah, it was kind of like, it just showed how much that these new Founding Father guys were manipulating everything. Yeah. Because they didn't even kill her themselves. They had her driven out into the middle of the street and tossed into the middle of the street in front of all these other guys who just shot her.
Like, I think maybe, like, I thought they, like, drove her out to Staten Island where the Purge was happening. Yes. Oh, okay.
That's what they did.
Yeah, so it would look like
so that way they could come in there and go and say, yes, well, also you need to point at how you see what terrible criminals they all are, because she's the brilliant mind who came up with all this, and they turned on her. It's like,
and that's another reason why, like, everyone who involves in the Purge wears a mask. They actually, like...
We didn't talk about that. Yeah. That's a big thing.
Yeah, I'm glad they actually, like, had, like, an explanation for all of that.
That's so good, because another thing that I hate about the other Purge films is how everyone's going around in these shitty Halloween masks. I'm like, dude, I know you're doing that to try and make everyone a horror movie monster, but it doesn't work. They all just look stupid to me. This one, there came a moment in which the news was saying, yeah, it's almost like everybody is, we've noticed a lot of people wearing masks during this. It gets revealed it's because the people who started wearing masks, there are some just random crazy people wearing masks. There are just some random nutsos out there.
Yeah, but like most of them were just like partying. Like it was like a costume party almost.
Yeah, but the majority of people wearing masks are the like militia guys who got hired by the government to go in here and do this. So that way they couldn't track it all back to the government. I was like, oh my god, as I said, this movie makes the previous films better because it's almost like it looked at all the dumb shit from the previous films, like, oh, the Purge works. No, it doesn't. It was all a lie. Here's the explanation of why it was a lie. Oh, well, everyone wears a mask because everyone's a monster. No, it's not. They're not all scary. But it does actually make sense when you consider how corrupt the government is and how they're actually trying to use the Purge to go in there and try and kill all these low-income people, and they're trying to hide their identities. Fuck, that actually makes sense. Fuck. Yeah, man, this movie...
It's this like, you were so angry at how good this movie is.
Yes, I am! I don't want to say I liked a Purge film, but god damn it, I liked this one. I liked it a lot. So, alright. And god, man, again, actual real freaking characters in here. Actual real people that you like and you care about in this movie. Again, a big problem with horror films. They try and make the people that you're following so unlikable that you don't care about them. The Purge films, aside from the first one, I didn't care about any of the weirdos in that first one. In this one, yeah, man. In the next couple ones, it's like, okay, I kind of like the people who are stuck there. I kind of like the politician person in the third one. This one, I really liked all the people in this one. So, yeah, goddamn, these movies are doing so well. Fuck yeah, The Purge is continuing its rise to being that one horror movie franchise out there that actually gets better. No, it's continuing its rise as being the only franchise out there that gets better with every installment. So yeah, wow. Okay. But I like this film a lot. So solid 8 for me, 8.5 for you. Man. Okay, so I can't believe I like this one this much, but
are you angry? Do you need to purge?
I don't need to purge. I just kind of want to watch this movie again. Like, this got so much stuff out of my system. All right. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Next week there isn't that much. There's the new Hotel Transylvania, and there's Skyscraper Tower, whatever, the Dwayne The Rock Johnson movie.
Oh yeah, that one.
Where he's climbing a big thing. Yeah, but anyway, Towering Inferno, that's what it is. How did he not just remake Towering Inferno? It's the same fucking concept. Anywho, make sure that you come back next week for that, and that you tune in for the rest of the week for all of our other geeky stuff that we do. But thank you guys for tuning in. Let us know what you thought about this film in the comments down below. And you can always follow me on Twitter, Twitch, and Tumblr at Professor Thorgy. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Come back next time.
Bye.
Bye.